Making moves, flipping real estate. We building wealth, get your minds right and elevate. It's the mortgage king, we do it truly, bro. Dropping gems like a thief up in the jewelry cell. Wealth building equity in real estate, the mission. Collaboration is greater than competition.
YouTube, what's going on? Matt Garland here. NMLS number 58700, better known as MG the Mortgage Guy. So look, we're going to have a great debate today. So if you head over to my Instagram page right now, I put up a post, and it was a tweet by my homegirl, Alexis Lee Real Estate. And this tweet is going viral on Instagram, y'all. It's going viral. First of all, welcome to the channel. I know it's been a while since I've been on YouTube. I could have had this conversation on IG Live, but I decided to have it on YouTube because we got to let this information live forever, because I think it's a great conversation to have, right? So my homegirl, Alexis Lee Real Estate, make sure you go follow her on Instagram. She put up a tweet this morning, and she said, landlords, if your tenants have been paying on time through this entire pandemic and you still raise rents, you ain't shit. Woo! Yo, right now, I posted that 4 hours ago. It's 3:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I posted that at 11 p.m. And let me tell you, there's about 500 something comments on that page, on that post right now. And I said, yo, this is going to be great for a debate. So shout out to all y'all who's in the comments right now here on YouTube. I appreciate the super chat, Eric Selzar. Let me show that right there. Eric, salute to you. Appreciate the super chat. So I said, you know what? Yo, let's have this debate. So I'm going to bring on two people right now. First of all, I'm going to bring on Alexis Lee. Because Alexis Lee, she started this whole shit. She got the internet on fire today with this tweet. And let me read this tweet again. You said,
I'm like Kanye.
You said,
people going.
You said, landlords, if your tenant or tenants have been paying on time through this entire pandemic and you still raise rents, you ain't shit.
I meant it.
And you meant it. You said that that was your caption too when you posted it. You said, I mean what I said. And I said what I said.
Yeah, I said what I said. I mean it.
Oh my God. Let me bring on another special guest. We got the homie here. She goes, I'm not even going to tell you her government, but she goes by the Money Nista on Instagram, and she is the Money Nista, real estate investor, tax strategist extraordinaire. And she left a comment. I'm going to read her comment too, because it's only right. I have to pin her comment too. She read she had a whole sermon in my comments. And look, and her opinion was, rents are raised as a result of variable costs associated with the property. My property taxes go up, water bills go up. If you pay sewage, trash separately, it goes up. Your tenants will have to pay as the cost of living has gone up. Moreover, if you have a problem with the tenant that pays on time but damages your property or keeps it unkept, the rent will be raised. This is life. As my cost goes up, so does yours. Paying on time is an obligation, not an option. I paid Con Ed religiously for years for my apartment. They raised rates. I paid the bill. I didn't say Con Ed wasn't shit. People need more education about money, entitlement, and obligation. Woo! That comment right there was a whole sermon. You got like 70 replies to that and like 500 likes.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, we got to break. I texted them both individually. I said, ladies, would you mind joining me on YouTube today?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is a great day. So let's start with Alexis. Alexis, first of all, introduce yourself to the people. Tell them who you are, how to follow you, all that good stuff.
Yeah, Alexis Lee Real Estate. Alexis Lee, I'm a real estate investor, Airbnb host. I have 26 doors, so I'm a landlord. Contrary to some of the comments, she must be a tenant. No, I'm a damn landlord. I get it.
Tell them, Alexis.
You know, I got 26 doors. And I feel real strongly about this just because, and I see lots of different sides of it, but my opinion stands. I just don't think landlords should be raising rent right now, still in the middle of a global pandemic, especially for tenants who are doing their damnedest to pay always on time through this whole time. I mean, we're going in 18 months of this. And you know what? All of my tenants, some of them have sacrificed greatly to ensure that I was taken care of. They know I'm a single mother. They know I have bills and that I live off of my landlord, my tenants, what they pay. That's what I live off of, literally. Not just pay my mortgage. That's how I pay my bill and pay for my child. So it's important to me that people have taken care of me, that I continue to do the same for them.
Love it. Money-nista. Talk to the people,
All
introduce
respect,
yourself, all that good stuff.
all respect. You know how to grab attention.
I try.
I try to grab attention. You know, I'm also a landlord, 8 years in, and I'm a tenant. I don't live in my properties that I own for tax purposes. I'm a tax strategist. I'm a business owner. 13 years at the IRS, 18 years in audit, accounting, and tax total. And you know, I do approach it from a business standpoint. I don't believe as a landlord you do have a right to be unethical and immoral. I mean, people
Yes.
lose their jobs all the time, and landlords, there is accountability on your side as well. Don't buy property if you can't maintain it, if you don't have reserves for it. If you're buying property expecting to make cash flow tomorrow and never hear with the ills that come with being a landlord, then you're not going to be a landlord, because it is a business. It is a business-like activity, right? You're responsible and accountable to provide housing. Your tenant, though, is also contractually obligated to pay, right? And we're in a global pandemic. That means everybody, landlords and tenants, are feeling it, right? And no, I'm not going to show up at your door with a shotgun and take my rent, but it's due. You know, it's due, just like my mortgage is due. I'm your landlord. Wells Fargo is my landlord, and whoever I pay my property taxes to is my landlord. And if I'm responsible for utilities, they're my landlord, right? I've got to pay, right, whether I'm in a pandemic or not. And I think what the pandemic is uncovering is a lack of accountability and responsibility of tenants and landlords. So, you know, we're all people. Half the rentals out there are not conglomerates. They're owned by people like you and I.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I do believe in having grace, right, and open communication with your tenants. And furthermore, you know, I've never had to go to court. I've never had to raise my rent. But if my cost goes up, what I'm being asked to do, a lot of times people do hold the burden, because, you know, they're seen as somebody with money, you know, or who's good, to shoulder the burden of the income cost, and you do end up paying for your tenants to live, right? So if you're talking about 4 or 5%, no, that's not. But if you're increasing based upon the cost of living, that's natural. You know, the pandemic, if my taxes go up in the pandemic, your rent is going to go up when the lease renews.
I get that. I do. I understand. Look, I have a lot of properties, some of them which my property taxes have gone up on, some of them which, you know, I don't think I've had any insurance increase, but I got a stack of property tax bills sitting on my desk right now. So I understand having to pay the taxes. What I'm stating is that I think a lot of times as landlords, we put the business aspect over the humanity aspect. And that's not who I am. I've never ran my business like that. I will always put the human aspect over it. I have a tenant who is 89. I have several tenants in their 60s. I have one in their 50s. I have disabled tenants. And I always take that into consideration. If them, our most vulnerable of population, is able to still pay me rent every month, the least minimum I can do is not raise rents on them, as some of them are struggling to ensure that they're paying their rent every month. And that's just the perspective I see it as. Yes, I'm a business owner. I understand the business aspect of it. I just think as humans, people going up during a pandemic when a lot of people are really struggling out here trying to make it, and you have people that are paying you on time. This is not to the people who aren't paying rent. They just like, you know what, I'm gonna get my stimulus. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna pay. These are to the people who are actually paying on time. I had several tenants who, when they got their stimulus, they gave me the whole thing, and was not working. The minimum I can do is not increase rent at this point in time. Over 50% of my properties are due for a rental increase. They are. But at this point in time, until we can make it through this pandemic, because it seemed like we were on our way out, but now it seems like we've taken a few steps back. I think the least that we can do as landlords, especially landlords of color, and all of my tenants are people of color, the minimum that I can do is say, you know what, I'm gonna hold you steady right now, and I appreciate you being able to make the sacrifices you made to pay your rent every month.
And that's being very personal in your approach. It does work because you do have to have a relationship with your tenants, right? You don't want, the last thing you want is to piss off a tenant, right? You don't want to create an awkwardness for someone who is in a position that they cannot control. And again, I don't show up and say, hey, my rent's due on the 1st, but your rent is accumulating, it is. And if my cost goes up at some point, I do have to pass the cost on to the tenant. It's only right because I'm a business owner and I eat as well.
Yeah.
So, and again, I'm not talking about, landlords who raise their rent just because you're in the area where you can $300-400 and you're ready to pick your tenant out because you want a cash flow more. I get that. I'm talking about nominal. I mean, my HOA increased. I have got to raise the rent, and I'm always communicative to them. Hey, it's gonna go, and I'm always gonna give notice. I'm always gonna say, hey, in 6 months, when your lease renews, the rent's got to go up because of my increase in property taxes or whatever have you, the upkeep of the property. Maybe they had something to do with it. You're not keeping the property clean and I have to hire somebody. It's always an explanation and it's always notice. So I do have a humanity aspect of dealing with tenants. I do operate as a business, but I also understand as a business, I'm dealing with people who are struggling in this time. I just think, the burden tends to fall somewhere in between both, not just one side.
I agree.
So Alexis, let me ask you this, because you said we're in the pandemic and you feel as if you shouldn't raise rents because we are still in a pandemic. But we're never going to be out of pandemic, to be honest with you. COVID's never going anywhere. It's not going anywhere.
At least
not even for a while. It's going to be here forever. There's going to be COVID-23 that's going to come out. There's always going to be something. Now they got the Delta.
The Delta strain. Yeah.
They got Delta strain. They got Obama strain. They're going to have Obama strain. They're going to have all types of strains that's going to happen over the next 2 to 3 years, right? So are you saying, Alexis, that over these next 2 to 3 years, right? Let's just call it 2 years.
Okay.
Landlords should not raise rents, even though gas, oil, utilities, everything else is going up. Inflation averages 2.5% a year. Everything is going up. So we're not supposed to raise rents to cover the costs, at least when our costs are going up. The counties don't give a damn. They're going to reassess your taxes every single year and raise your taxes because home prices are increasing.
Going up.
So
I agree.
Why do landlords have to be pieces of shit if we raise to cover our costs, Alexis? Why?
Alexis, I got a question. And Matt is actually helping me with the purchase of my 3-family where I am now. And tenants don't pay anywhere near, those tenants I will inherit don't pay anywhere near market rate because they've been there forever. I mean, forever and ever and ever. And their rent is nowhere near market rate. So acquiring tenants and having to have that discussion and giving them notice, you're going to have a new owner, your rents are going to increase. It's not really, and I know you weren't meaning to be participating the same pieces. It was fun. I was hilarious. But a lot of situations where I'm acquiring this mortgage now, my mortgage isn't the seller's mortgage anymore. So my tenants that I'm acquiring, they're going to have to pay the increase in rent. Now, I'm not going to do it the day I close. I do believe in being merciful and graceful and saying, hey, because I'm a responsible landlord, right? I wouldn't close on a property I couldn't maintain without me personally. I don't know about anybody else out there. I got a year reserve, right? I could pay that much on my own by myself without collecting a dime. However, that's my reserve. Right? That's my safety. But I've got to increase that rent. I've got to tell them, and I'm going to give them, listen, you have 6 months. You can choose to stay, but their rent is way below market rate. Right.
I feel
I'm a piece of shit, I guess.
No, I'm going to answer your question. I feel like that is a different situation than what I was presenting with.
Right.
So
I agree.
You obtaining tenants way below market rent, you're going to have that conversation with them. Why? Because we always know you're purchasing now in a different market. What they were paying is not going to equal to that. So I don't agree with just acquiring tenants and keeping them at the rental rate that they were at. Right. I do believe in giving them a certain amount of times. A lot of those tenants probably have been there 8, 9, 10 years, never had an increase, because we know a lot of landlords will let tenants stay in shitty properties, not do any work, then sell them off and expect you to fix them up and keep their rents at what they are. But that's just not how it works. So I feel like that's totally different. To Matt's point, we might be in a pandemic for another 2 years. Here's how I feel about that. Depending on how long we're through this pandemic, I feel as though at some point, as things continue to increase, you might have to increase. I feel like right now, where we're at, because we don't know what the next 2 years holds, right? I feel like right now, where we're at, and the opportunities that were provided to tenants and landlords, you should not be increasing rent. And Matt, we know that there was PPP, there was EIDL. Landlords had the opportunity to get just the same amount, way more money, to get the opportunities to help with their businesses, just like tenants received stimulus. And some of that money should have been going towards your increase of taxes, your increase of water bills, your increase of insurance. We have to have some kind of responsibility as well, that we did receive some supplemental money that shouldn't be pushed on. We shouldn't still be pushing those things on to our tenants.
Agreed.
You would agree?
I agree. If I
Matt, you would agree?
If you received the money, if you were eligible and you received
it. If you were eligible and you received the money. And we know most landlords, they did. A lot of people that was in the comments were people telling me, they gonna pay this rent, they gonna get this rent increase. And it's the same people I saw posting their EIDL loans of $100,000. Like, really?
Yeah.
You got 100 stacks and you want to take your tenant and raise their rent $100 a month? Like, you don't have $1,200. You didn't get $1,200 to try to cover that thing. So it's like, come on, like, we have to be realistic about it. We're all in this together.
In that manner, you should pass it down, because that's what it's for. That's the purpose.
Yes.
It is fair. It is fair. And again, as a landlord, you need to have reserves, because this is going to happen. You are going to pandemic time. You're gonna have vacancies. You're gonna have issues. And again, I feel like, tenants need to understand landlords are people too. They have, and they took care of me because they acknowledge that. A lot of tenants don't, right? They received their money and they were like, or they never lost income and they're like, whatever, you can't evict me, so I'm gonna just sit here.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that now. They need to go. People who weren't paying, it's time to evict. Like, I'm not with that. Everybody received some kind of supplement. You could have been paying something, even if it wasn't your whole rent. Right. You lost your job, you're struggling, but like not paying anything, that's not the same. I'm saying for the tenants that were like, look, I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna make sure I pay my rent and I'm paying on time every month. Like, they're struggling with inflation as well, and it's like, if you receive those supplements, like, why are you then passing on doing rental increases? I know my cousin's place, right? She has a landlord. Her lease expired. She was paying $1,100 a month. Her lease expired. He gave her a new lease with an increased rent of $1,600 to $1,600. She can't afford to pay that. I'm like, yo, dude, you're shitty.
That was unethical, because she should have been given proper notice.
That was definitely unethical. I think that's ridiculous.
But that's what's happening, though, because now the rents are increasing so quickly. Like, all these areas, the rents are going up so quickly, and you got all these landlords like, oh, so I can get this, I can get that. Oh, I can get $600 more.
Yesterday's price is not today's price, though. Yesterday's price is not today's price, though. I'm just saying. Everything. Look, I'm gonna tell you where I stand in all of this, right?
Okay.
I agree with both of you. I think good paying tenants, I have great paying tenants, that is no need, right? You work with them, they're paying on time, they taking care of your property, they're good people. You work with them. But there are people who are still paying, but drag their feet, and they do a lot of BS, you know what I mean, to your properties. And ultimately, depending on where your property is located, your property taxes and your expenses do go up. Yes, even if you did receive some sort of aid from the government and stuff like that, they still have a obligation to pay their rent. I don't think you should increase your rent by $500, $600, $700, $800. I think that's just you're being a sleazeball at that point. But I don't think it's wrong for landlords to raise their rent as long as it's done, and if it's fair warning, right? You have
that's always fair and ethical.
I think 90 days is pretty enough warning for somebody to know, like, hey, this is what's happened, and it's communication, right? You got to talk to your people, because, like we said, we're all Black here. We probably all of our tenants probably look just like us, so we want to work with our people. We don't want to be slumlords, but I think if you communicate to them, like, hey, in 90 days, I have to go up to X, Y, and Z amount of dollars because this just increased on me. I had to spend X, Y, and Z to fix this for you. I had to do this. I had to do that. Like, I have to go to cover, and I can do it in 3 months or 4 months, and you give that ample amount of time, then I think it's okay. But if you're coming out, somebody paid their rent August 1st, and then you hit them August 15th with a notice, hey, September, I'm raising you by $500, then you're a sleazeball.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I agree with both, and that's why I pinned both of you guys' comments.
Yeah.
Because I agree with both of you, because it, like Monenisa said, this is a business. Most of us who are landlords, we got into landlording to running our businesses.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
and to provide
housing
ethically, for our people,
for our people. But it's also a business because the counties are still raising our taxes. The insurance companies, these motherfuckers are crazy. I just got new insurance bills on renewals, and I'm like, you out your motherfucking mind. like, how did my insurance go up this high? And I have no claims, no nothing. Like, who the hell do you think you are?
Right.
You know, utilities are going up. The part that we control, like, most of us have to pay the water bills and the trash and things like that. Shit is going up. Some of these tenants be running water all damn day. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, what the hell is going on?
Because they're home because of the pandemic. All of these things.
Yeah, they're home. Everybody's home.
So now the landlord is holding the burden. And again, I'm always going to be ethical. I'm always going to have an open line of communication, be compassionate. But the fact is, the cost has to be passed on to the person who's benefiting, right? Is the person who's benefiting, right? And I'm not, like you said, I don't believe in $600.
What's wrong with your mic? What's wrong with your mic? You sound a little choppy.
Can you hear me?
I hear you, but you're a little choppy.
Am I good now?
A little better.
A little better?
Much better.
That's better. Yeah.
Whatever you just did, just keep it there.
My hand is steady. My hand is steady.
Maybe I should have told you that 20 minutes ago.
My hand is steady. My hand is, like I said, I will never be, a non-compassionate landlord. People first, profit second. But ultimately, this is an exchange. This is a business transaction. You've got to give me what you're obligated, and I'm going to definitely give you what I'm obligated to do. Right. And within reason, right? No, never $500, $600. That's just wrong. And to those landlords that are doing that, you're wrong. You're dead wrong, especially without notice. Now, if you have a justification, like you put in a new kitchen and you got to give your tenant notice. This is what I'm doing. When your lease renews, you have an option in 8 months to take it or not. Right. Give them notice. And it's fair as long as you give notice.
And I think that was the whole point of the post, right? Like,
great post, by the way.
Thank you.
I reposted. I was like, yes.
I'm stepping my social media game up.
You gave me content for the day, Alexis. Thank you very much.
Content for the day. Forever.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was the whole point of it, was like to let people see, like, I really believe that we need to put people over profit. Like, when you take care of your people, they will always continuously take care of you. And I understand it's a business. It's my business. I run my business. I think I do a good job how I run my business, but I'm always going to be a people person, and it's always going to be people over profit for me. And I definitely understand.
Do you guys see the question I just put on the screen? Or the statement, I should say, by I can't pronounce her name. I'm sorry. I don't want to butcher it. You see it? She says, that has nothing to do with the tenants. If the county raises the cost, you should have already covered that cost with the rent.
Yeah. You can only wish that, your rent can forecast what's going to happen, right? The county is assessing your taxes and you don't know until you get a notice. So
Yeah.
you could be in the middle of your lease, right? And I get a notice that my taxes go up, another $1,000 a year for whatever reason. And when that lease renews, it's my responsibility to let you know, hey, the cost has gone up, right? You can
Mhm.
either accept the new rental rate when your lease renews, or you cannot, right? But my job as a landlord is to give notice, right? And to be fair. I'm not just raising your rent because I feel like it, like I want a new car, I'm
Yeah.
raising your rent because it's associated with the property under which you live and you benefit. So
What do you have to say to this statement, Alexis?
So, okay, just a little educational things for people. If you get those property taxes and you see them and they're really high, I would always, always, always attempt to dispute them. So you can always appeal your property taxes, just so people know. I always tell people to do that. And like I've disputed like 10 of them. Out of 10, I've won like 8 disputes. So I always tell people try to go that route as well. But I don't personally agree that you're going to have all of your tax money attributed into your rental, because what's going to end up happening is over the course of time now, as taxes continuously rise, because I'm not saying never increase rents, right? Because
right,
as we know, if you own a property, I have properties that I've owned for 12 years. So if I've owned something for 10 to 12 years, a property, of course, over the course of time, taxes are going to continuously increase. So you're not going to be able to factor that in always. You're going to have to, at some point, increase rents. I just don't think it should be right now during a pandemic.
Yeah, I think, and again, I don't want to butcher your name. Can y'all pronounce that name? I can't. I don't want to butcher it.
it looks like Dadney.
Dadney? That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking too. Dadney, thank you for your statement. But I think this is a lack of education. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
a landlord can't properly project what their like taxes and insurance goes up every year. We don't know what they're gonna go to. You know what I'm saying? We
Mhm.
are honestly just waiting for the letters to come in the mail, and they tell us without warning. You know what I mean? So it's hard for a landlord to project, yo, my rents need to be here to cover the future increases, and
Yeah.
I think tenants need education more so on that part of it. But I want to bring up another statement. I thought this was an interesting one right here. It says, funny how tenants talk, but why didn't they have reserves for the pandemic? But your hand is out for assistance. You were not prepared for a global crisis. This is an interesting statement here to me. And I can't pronounce this name either. I don't want to butcher nobody's name. Kaya?
Kaya.
Kaya?
Kaya.
Kaya, thank you for your statement. I think this is an interesting statement right here, because in the comments on my Instagram page, you can tell who's the tenants and who's the landlords, right?
Mhm.
And anytime you post this is the great debate, right? It's always
Yeah.
tenant versus landlord.
Mhm.
And you can kind of tell who's who. And when tenants say shit like this to me, I think the same thing is like, well, you didn't have money either, right?
Mhm.
Like I think people think, and this is why I always say, don't be house rich and cash poor. People think because you own property, you have money. Nine
Yes.
times out of 10, people who own real estate don't have no damn money.
Yeah. Say that again, please.
They don't have no damn money, right? They don't have a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of.
Right. They have
Yes.
money, just not enough to be just splurging the way you think.
Fix your
They're
phone
not
again. Fix
rich.
your phone again.
Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
better.
Okay.
Better.
Yeah, they have money, but it's not allocated towards, somebody else's lack of financial planning. Right? We all are affected. We all are seeing who was not prepared, right? The people who purchased property with the intent on cash flowing, but not really attending to the needs of the property.
Mhm.
Tenants who took apartments they couldn't afford in the first place, right? So, I think it's all of us. We're all in the same cycle. We're all affected.
Yeah, and I think about to like Outkast has this line in one of their songs, Elevators, that I always will go to. And he says, if you don't move your feet, then I don't eat. So we like neck to neck. And it's
Woo!
very true.
Gem dropper.
It's
Gem
very true.
dropper.
Because I think this pandemic revealed that one, businesses, major corporations are broke as hell, right?
Yeah,
Landlords are broke as hell, and tenants are broke as hell. We all in the same boat, broke as hell, right? So it's like I tell the landlords, if you want to get into owning property, major thing to do is look, first thing, you need to have 3 to 6 months of reserve, if not
Facts.
more. right? All of my properties, I'm sitting on 6 months for them just because of a pandemic. When my
Responsible.
Airbnbs went to shit, you know, I was like, I'm good for right now. We'll see how long we ride this out, you know. But like I live off of my tenants' money. That's how I pay my bills. So it's like I need you to move your feet so I can eat and then I can have reserves. So if you're not paying, you can't expect the landlords to just be sitting over here on all this cash if you're not paying. It doesn't work like that.
Absolutely not.
And amen to that, sister. And look, I hate when I hear tenants say this shit. And it's like you can't expect. Look, most landlords are cash broke and house rich. Let's just call it mom and pops, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about the big Blackstones of the world, the big corporations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the people who are being affected more in this is the mom and pop landlords, because most of them just had enough money to scrape up to buy this property.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some of them are owner occupied, you know what I'm saying, landlords, and they're dependent on that money to pay their mortgage. And when you see tenants not paying, and purposely sometimes not paying, just because they feel as if they don't have to,
yeah,
you know, the mom and pops are going to get hurt.
they do.
You know,
They
when
do.
this thing is kind of coming to the end, those
Well,
are
not
the
for the
folks
mom
that get
and pop,
hurt.
but future renters are going to hurt because when you leave a bad taste in the landlord's mouth, they're going to be much more harsher on anybody else who comes to the property. And right now,
do.
as a landlord, I require renter guarantor insurance, right? That is a requirement, right? That is my application, renter guarantor insurance, right? If you don't pay, the insurance company is responsible for backing your lease and they go after you. I don't have to go to court, right? So that's going to happen when you have a bunch of people who don't want to pay just because they feel like the landlord should shoulder the burden. You're going to mess it up for your future rental applications and other renters.
I agree, because the next set of tenants, they ain't going to get no help.
No, they not.
They're going to get no help. They're going to get the highest rent possible, and they're going to pay me the money. I want it.
Yeah.
You know, and if you ain't got it, then you ain't got it. But you know, I don't think tenants should automatically assume that their landlords have money because they are a homeowner.
Yeah.
Not all homeowners are built alike. Like us three, we have reserves. Thank God. We're in positions where if a tenant doesn't pay, like I have tenants that are not paying right now. You know, before we started this, I was talking to one of my friends about one of my situations. And I have tenants that are not paying, but I have ample reserves to cover me, thank God. But if I didn't, I would be fucked right now.
Yeah.
If it wasn't paying, because they're not paying. So I think people, look, we all have to be humans at the end of the day. We all, and I think that's what your tweet was more so about.
Yeah,
you know,
so it was.
And I understood what you were saying, but I know people in the comments didn't really understand. Like 100%. It's like you're just telling our people, don't be a piece of shit, be a human being, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I like this conversation. I like these type of debates. I thought this was worthy of a YouTube live. I don't think Instagram Live would have did this any justice.
Nah.
Because we need to keep this living forever, because people need to understand both sides of the spectrum. There's a human element, there's a business element. Say that again.
You got to bridge the gap between landlords and tenants, right? So that everybody understands where they fall. We're all in the cycle of money. Right? You don't pay me, I don't pay my mortgage, you know, I might get my property taken away, and then you get your home taken away. You know, everybody suffers. We're all in the cycle. It's just where you are in the cycle.
That's a fact.
Yeah, it is.
And people attack who's most accessible to them. Right? My property taxes go up, I've got to increase my rent. You attack me, but you don't attack the county because that's my burden.
Yeah, very true.
So
as W in the comments says, we all have to work together.
Absolutely.
We really do.
I agree with that.
I always have an open line of communication with my tenants for anything. And it's always civil, respectful, and there's always notice, right? There's always a conversation.
And I feel strongly as though, like, with us being Black landlords, it's just so important for us to drive the narrative that we want as landlords, and bridge the gap to our tenants feel like we're not here to take advantage of them as other landlords have, right? Because most of them at some point probably had other races of landlord, and they just feel that landlords are bad. They just want the money. They just money hungry. They slumlords, you know.
The property.
Yeah, and that narrative has to change. And I feel like, that's one of my sole purposes, is to understand that I'm here as a pillar for the community, right? I own property so that I can rent and give affordable housing to my own community, and so I'm going to always be good. I'm going to make a profit, but I'm also going to take care of the people that provide for me and my family.
Absolutely. As we just said, everybody should play their part.
Yeah, for sure.
Play your part.
Everybody got a role in life. Like you said, it's just what's your role?
Yeah.
And
where do you fall in the cycle?
Where do you fall in the cycle, or where do you fall on the food chain?
Yeah.
Tenants, you have an obligation and responsibility to obligation to pay your bills, just like the landlord has the obligation to pay their bills to who their master, which is the bank. You know what I'm saying? Our landlord is the bank.
Yep.
And we're your landlord because you live in the property. So we all have to take care of one another. We can't play games. Landlords, don't be slumlords. Make sure your apartments are livable. Make sure they're nice, because sometimes people just want to raise rents and do no repairs.
Yes.
And do nothing to their apartments, and I hate that. Don't be a slumlord, guys. That's not cool. But if I personally believe that, my opinion is, and I agree with both of you ladies, but I'm going to edge on the side of, sometimes it all depends on the situation. Sometimes your rent got to raise. But if you're going to raise your rent, I think it should be communicated in the proper manner. Your tenant should be given ample time to make a decision. It can't be like a huge increase. 3% raise is kind of like, the standard. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's okay. If you have like an annual lease with someone, and you're going to keep re-signing leases, but as long as they understand from the beginning, hey, we have a 1-year lease. When that time is up, there will be an increase of 3%, 5% or something. If you renew, if they know that from the beginning, like, it's that communication. You're letting them know ahead of time, whether it's a pandemic or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're letting them know ahead of time. But I think if you're one of those landlords out there who are just like, yo, market went up to this, and yesterday's price is not today's price, fuck it. Like, you want to stay here, you got to pay me $700 more. Then I think that's kind of brutal.
I've seen that so many times today too.
It's happening. It's crazy.
It is happening. Mm-hmm.
Now, in Money Nista's case, where we're helping her with her 3-family that she's buying right now, and her rents are well below market, that's different.
That's totally different. Yeah,
totally different. Like that, you have every right to raise. Like, I have a property right now that's well below, and I didn't raise them yet, but I told them by the first of the year, like, look, I got to go to market.
And that's exactly what I said.
I got to go to market. Like, I can't keep the rents at this. It just doesn't make financial sense at these numbers. And I'm purchasing this property based off the market, not what you're currently paying, for it to make sense for me to own this property. So I have to raise it. But I gave you 8 months at, you know what I mean? So
I think that's reasonable. I definitely think
reasonable.
That's reasonable.
That's so reasonable, because I'm not trying to be a slumlord. I'm not trying to be a slumlord, because I know they've been there for years. It's their home.
Yeah.
It's their, especially when the problem is
property and it's your home.
It's their home.
Yeah.
And this is for all the soon-to-be landlords or the first-time investors. When you buy property that has long-term tenants, that's when you really have to kind of take care of these people, because you got to remember, they live there for years.
Whole lives, some people.
Their whole lives, and that's their home. And you gotta take I think in those situations, when you have those long-term tenants, sometimes you gotta take the business side out of it and realize this is their home, you know? And you can't just like give them that culture shock, that payment shock just off the bat. You gotta do it gradually, because if they can't afford it, then they have to find a place to live, and that might take time. So that's like one of my properties. I'm in that situation, but I'm not wrong for raising my rents on that one, because I have to. Like, I have no choice,
Yeah. No, I get it.
But I think your post was a phenomenal post today. It has people thinking. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take one more. I'm gonna take a couple more comments. You guys got anything else you want to add to this? Anybody in the comments? You got something good you want to say? I'll put your shit on the screen. Let us know.
So silly.
Like, I think look, somebody says, You're running a reasonable business, not a nonprofit like a shelter.
True, you are. You're running a reasonable business, and I would ask for landlords to be reasonable, and I think that's it. Just be reasonable. I understand people having to increase.
Yeah, when you rent your property, put yourself in their shoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just think if you have somebody trying to make it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we go. Here's a good one. Real Talk Only says, we have to remember that life happens to renters too. Owners get 3 months free before foreclosure. Tenants is 30 days. That's so draining to think about it. Adding more stress. Owners get 3 months before foreclosure.
Tenants have been getting years in New York. I mean, shout out to my New York real estate.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think that's crazy.
Only landlord-friendly states, they'll be in there 2-3 years.
And let's just be realistic. Most of the time, tenants aren't getting 30 days. That's really an exaggeration. So one, the time that they're behind, landlords probably won't file eviction for 30 days. 30 days to get a court date, then 30 days to evict. So it's still 90 days, just to be realistic. I like to be on the side of fair. I've never had to evict somebody, but I had to take somebody to the court to threat of eviction. And when you get there, they're going to make you in Georgia, you're going to have to go to mediation. They're going to ask the person, can they pay? If they can pay, they're going to tell them, okay, well, you got to pay it in 30 days. If they can't pay, then, they're still going to give them another 30 days before you evict them. So anyway, somebody's going to get 90 days. I think life happens, and that's when you have to communicate with your landlord on that. Mm-hmm. Then there's also rental assistance programs that when life does happen for you, you need to be trying to apply for immediately. Like just not paying, ignoring landlords. That's just not the way to go about it. You're a grown person. You need to act like a grown person. And landlords have to be responsible for paying their mortgages and living as well. So I think it's both ways.
Your property, right? And maintain property. Right? Landlords have a lot of jobs, not just paying the mortgage.
Absolutely.
The lawn care, making sure it's habitable. You don't want your property being, deemed inhabitable by the city or the county or whomever. You have to make sure everything's operational. Any repair.
Fix your phone.
Any repairs, any maintenance. Is it the Android?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the Android.
We found out.
We know it was something.
You need to raise them rent so you can go get an iPhone.
That's a fact.
Good, Alexis.
Money needs to raise the rent so you can get you a real phone.
You gotta get a damn iPhone.
I don't want an iPhone. I refuse to.
It's the Android in you right now, girl.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I disagree with this comment because life happens to landlords too. Because what happens when the renter's HVAC goes out? What you're not going to expect me to do is say, "Oh, I ain't got the $8,000 to replace everything, so let me just wait 30 days." No, you're going to expect it fixed right then because you want your air. So it's it goes both ways. Life happens to landlords and it happens to tenants.
Yeah, we have
life just happens. Pay your rent though.
100%.
On time,
please.
If you can.
I don't like when people say that life happens to tenants. I don't understand why people think landlords are some different type of they're not human or something. I don't understand. Life can't happen to landlords.
It does. It definitely does.
But I understand what she was probably trying to say.
I understand what she's saying.
But life happens to everybody. We all going through COVID at the same time.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me see. Look, hold on. Also, landlords want to have great value when they sell too. True.
Of course.
You gotta upkeep that. You gotta upkeep that property. Right? You got to upkeep that property because it's your investment at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And tenants don't care.
Right.
Oh my God. NYC eviction can take up to 18 years or more. Tenants up here know. He said tenants up here know the system better than the housing court judge. That is a fact.
You can raise your whole child with
New York tenants could be the worst, yo.
Yeah. That's great.
I have 3 New York tenants, and all of them paying on time. They're all, very, very they communicate. They let me know when there's an issue. We all have a civil relationship. Everything's on time. Everything.
Nah,
So I thank God that I don't have, these issues. But, just again, property owners, be responsible on your part, be accountable on your part, have your reserves, be ready to fix what you fix.
Yeah, look,
you're responsible.
Takima Baker says MG was definitely right. If you're not financially ready, don't jump out there. Life happens. You have to be financially ready with savings. Not a lot of name brand clothes, but savings plus credit.
MG got a lot of name brand clothes. Don't not believe it.
Oh yeah, MG definitely gonna throw in some drip from time to time. But I'll be honest with you guys, right? Like, and look, you can see it on my page. If you look at my post from 3, 4, 5 years ago, you didn't see a lot of name brand shit on me. Like I love polos and hoodies and regular. Like I'd rather wear my people's clothes than be wearing some designer brands. But as you get more comfortable in life, and I could just speak for me, as I've made more money, created more assets, I'm like, all right, I can't take all of this shit to the grave with me. Now I put myself in a position to where I can splurge a little bit and live, because I have my shit is set up to a point where I'm financially in a great space. God bless. So now if I want to go out here and if I want to do little things and buy a little something, I could treat myself.
Little drip. Yeah,
just a little drip from time to time. Shit, I sit on stage just to Kiana Watson. God damn it, people!
Sometimes.
Like, look, I sit next to stage with Kiana Watson. You see how she be coming? You was there, Alexis. Like she coming with outfit changes and capes and all types of ish. Like I can't be in here in an asset over liability t-shirt all the time. Like I gotta wear some little drip too to match the vibe. So like sometimes you just gotta reward yourself. But I did this after a certain point in my life.
Yeah, very important.
Right?
Set yourself up first. Yeah.
You don't do it up front.
11 years old. I'm gonna wait until the wheels fall off. I don't care.
Yeah. Shout out to Build Your Success Growth. DM me. I like merch. Send it to me. Takima says, but you have your bag too. Yeah, that's a fact. Like I'm not out here spending money I don't have. Then I'll be foolish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think this was a great conversation. We've been on here for 50 minutes so far. I didn't even realize we've been on here this long. So I know this was last minute. I thank both of you ladies. Alexis, tell them how to follow you again, what you got going on in your life, all that good stuff.
You can follow me, Alexis Lee Real Estate, on every single platform. I have online courses. I'm doing my last live class. It's almost sold out. I think I only got 3 seats, and that's August 28th. So you can follow me.
On it, Alexis.
Okay. Yep. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see. Look, I'm already got the heat ready for next week too, so don't even worry.
Damn, you got more?
Oh man, I've been storing some stuff up. I'm about to get y'all together real quick.
Shit, let me put my post notification on for you. I need content for next week. Money needs to talk to the people. Tell them how to find you and what you got going on with yourself.
I'm on Instagram, the_Money_Nista, MONEYNISTA. I'm a tax strategist, 13 years at the IRS, examining large businesses that report $10 million or more in gross receipts or assets. 18 years in audit, accounting, and tax total. I have a course at the Money Masters Academy. The link is in my bio on IG. You can go to my website, www.themoneynista.com.
Look, there you have it. 2 phenomenal women on the panel today. Maybe I need to do these type of debates. Financial literacy versus on the channel. I think I'm gonna start posting some controversy shit and see how it performs, and then get people on the channel and let's talk about it, because I thought honestly this was a great conversation. It's 2 sides to every coin. And I thought this was a really good conversation by 2 dynamic women. And I'm happy that you guys decided to join me today on the channel. Thank you both. Everybody, please go ahead and follow them. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. Follow them on Instagram. Follow them. Support them. Buy the courses, the products, because they're both top-notch women.
Matt is the only man who has seen my tax return. and he knows I don't pay no taxes.
She definitely don't pay no. Look, I ain't gonna hold you up, man. Like I see a lot of people tax returns, a lot, and not everybody's what they say they are.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm gonna tell you, the money Nista is what she says she is because she don't pay no taxes. She's minimized her taxes to a point where she don't pay them, and I'm like, shit, this is a phenomenal. And she was W-2.
I need to figure this out.
Look, let me tell you, she figured this out being W-2.
Sheesh.
W-2 at the IRS, right?
W-2 at the IRS too.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm tax code strong. So yeah, I knew how to maneuver. I did what they do. I became what I audited.
Makes sense.
That's dope. So look, y'all tap in. Can you link their info in the bio? Sure, why not? I'll put their info, their Instagrams and everything in the bio and the description of this video. So that way, those of you who watch this on the replay, you can easily find them. But I thank you ladies for joining me today.
No problem.
YouTube.
Nice to meet you.
Yo, Alex, Money Nista, we gotta get you an iPhone, man.
We get ready, man. We gonna please, y'all, put your Cash App out there. We gotta get you an iPhone.
I refuse. I have emotional attachments to my drawer.
This is why I don't do Android.
No, Android queen. Android ain't it. Android ain't it.
I'm going tomorrow. I'm gonna give me an iPhone just because you said so, man.
Please get you that 12 Plus Pro or something.
The reason why I got an iPhone. Everybody in my life been telling me, go ahead. Y'all two will be the reason. I'm going tomorrow.
You got to, because you know this Android, the sound, because Alexis is clear as day, and she sounds clear as day, but that Android sound, I don't know.
I'll accept that. I'm gonna go get me an iPhone. I will fall victim.
Sweet. Okay.
But shout out to y'all, man. YouTube, thank y'all. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. Share this with your people. Ladies, thank you. I'm gonna put all the information in the description of this video, and share with everybody, man, and leave some comments. If you watch this on a replay, leave some comments. What are your thoughts? Should landlords raise rents during the pandemic? And if they do raise rents, are they a piece of shit? They raise the rent.
And provide context in your comments, right? I mean, let's lay the groundwork. If you're just raising rents like we talked about, like $600, yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right, guys. So that's all we got, man. Thank y'all for coming out. Oh, INVESTFEST.com. Make sure you guys get your tickets for INVESTFEST. We're 2 weeks away. INVESTFEST.com. I'm gonna put the link in the description. Go to INVESTFEST Atlanta, August 27th, August 28th, and August 29th. Trust me, go to the INVESTFEST.com website and you'll see the entire lineup with all the speakers and everything that we got going on for that weekend in Atlanta. All right. And also, everybody, mask the hell up, please. COVID is real.
Yes, it is.
Delta is on fire right now. So if you outside, make sure you mask up. Don't be out here with no mask on. Even if you vaccinated, please wear your mask, man. Let's keep everybody safe. We don't want people keep getting sick. Whether you're vaxxed or not, that's your choice. But just keep your mask on. All right?
Yeah.
That's all I got for y'all.
All right.
Peace out. Thank you, ladies, for coming. And YouTube, I'll see y'all probably tomorrow. Who knows what other controversy I can dig up in the next 24 hours, and we can have a good video. Yeah, I'm gonna go through your page and see what else you got going on. All right, y'all. I'll speak to y'all YouTube. Thank y'all for tuning in. Like, comment, share, subscribe, put your bell on, hit the bell for notifications. Peace.
It's Mad G, making moves, flipping real estate. We building wealth, get your minds right and elevate. It's the mortgage king, we do it truly, bro. Dropping gems like a thief up in the jewelry cell. Wealth building equity in real estate, the mission. Collaboration is greater than competition.